The first thing Gideon Mercer saw wasn't blood. It was shame. A young woman lay twisted on the sunburned grass near the Smoky Hill River, her wrists bound tight, her ankles pulled back, her torn white dress clinging to her skin like it had lost the will to protect her. The Kansas heat pressed down on her bare legs, the wind lifting the fabric just enough to steal what little dignity she had left. Her face was flushed, not only from pain but from humiliation so raw it made breathing look like work. Every shallow breath looked like it cost her something. Gideon froze where he stood, one boot half raised, like his body didn't trust the ground anymore. 48 years on the plains had shown him death, hunger, and men torn apart by cattle and bullets. He deburied friends under simple wooden markers and watched bad men die without a shred of regret. But this was different. This was cruelty dressed up as a message. A woman left alive on purpose, posed like a warning, abandoned in broad daylight where anyone with eyes could see her. She saw him then. Her eyes widened in terror, then squeezed shut as if the world itself had become unbearable. Her voice came out broken and uneven. "Don't look there." The words weren't a cry for help. They were a plea for mercy. Gideon's chest locked tight. He didn't know where to look, so he looked nowhere at all. He fixed his eyes on the far horizon, jaw clenched, hands shaking like a boy caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. When she shifted slightly, the ropes bit into her skin and she gasped, a sharp sound that cut right through the heat. It was clear now she'd been stripped of more than just her belongings. Whatever modest clothing she'd worn beneath had been taken, leaving her exposed in a way no decent soul would ever choose. Without turning, Gideon pulled the blanket from his saddle and tossed it toward her. "Don't move," he said softly, though his voice cracked despite himself. The blanket landed over her legs. She let out a breath that sounded like relief tangled with sobbing. Dust clung to her cheeks, tears cutting pale lines through the dirt on her face. She tried to curl inward, but the rope stopped her short, reminding her she wasn't free yet. The silence that followed felt heavy enough to press down on them both. Grasshoppers clicked. His horse stamped somewhere behind him. This wasn't an accident. No storm had done this. No wild animal. Someone had taken their time. Someone had meant for her to be found exactly like this. As Gideon knelt to cut the ropes at her ankles, her voice trembled again. "Please don't look," he nodded, even though she couldn't see it. And in that moment, one thought struck him harder than any bullet he'd ever dodged. If she was left here alive, ashamed and terrified, then what kind of man was meant to find her? And what was supposed to happen next if he did? He slid his knife out slowly. "Ma'am, I'm going to cut the ropes." "I won't look, I promise." Under the blanket she swallowed hard. "I didn't mean for anyone to see me like this," she said, then let out a breath that sounded like a laugh that hurt. "Guess that ship sailed," she tried to joke, but her voice shook like humor was the only thing keeping her from breaking apart completely. Gideon snorted once. Quiet, still facing away, he reached for his canteen and held it out behind him like an offering of peace. "Take a sip, small one." "Don't choke." Her hand trembled as it found it. She drank, coughed, then sighed. "Warm as bathwater. Welcome to Kansas," Gideon said. "It does that in summer." That small scrap of normal conversation did something important. Her breathing slowed, her shoulders dropped just a fraction. For the first time since he'd found her, she sounded human instead of broken. "I'm Mabel," she said. "Most folks call me May." "Gideon," he answered. "Friends call me Gid. You can call me whatever gets you through the next 5 minutes. She almost laughed again, then winced. The ropes had dug deep into her wrists, the skin raw and swollen. Gideon felt that old ranch anger rise inside him, the kind that starts in your gut and climbs your throat slow and hot. "They took my bag," May said quietly. "My shoes. What little modesty I had left, just to be cruel." Gideon still didn't look. He slid another strip of cloth from his saddle roll toward her. "Wrap that around your shoulders. There's no honor in the wind getting a better view than it deserves." She did, and for a second she sounded almost like a regular young woman again. "If you tell anyone you saw me like this, I'll haunt your barn. I'll rattle every bucket you own," he huffed. "Ma'am, if you can haunt, you don't need my help." Then she went quiet. After a moment, she whispered, "I was headed for Abilene, the depot. I worked there sometimes. I heard something I shouldn't have. That made Gideon's eyes narrow. Before he could ask more, dirt exploded beside his knee. A shot. Gideon reacted without thinking. He yanked himself sideways and dragged May flat behind him, blanket and all. Another crack popped from the rise, close enough that grit slapped his cheek. "Stay low," he whispered. "Like a fence post. Fence posts don't get shot most days. I was hoping my day would end before the shooting part," she whispered, her voice tiny. "Me too," Gideon muttered. But Kansas don't always ask. He cut the last rope at her ankles and pressed the knife into her hand. "Hold it. Don't wave it. I've never stabbed anyone." "Good," Gideon said. "Let's keep your record clean." They crawled inch by inch toward the creek bank, using the dip in the land for cover. Gideon spotted a thin wisp of smoke on the rise. Someone was patient. "Someone was close. They left me out there," May whispered. "They wanted you." That landed heavy. They moved low along the creek bed until they reached Gideon's line shack. It wasn't much, just a small cabin for cowboys checking the far fences. He waved her inside first, barred the heavy door, and finally turned his back fully to her. "There's a clean shirt on that peg," he said. "Take your time," fabric rustled. Then a shaky breath that sounded almost like relief. "Thank you." Safe in the shade, May told him everything: names, schedules, livestock numbers. She explained how men talked freely when they thought a woman didn't matter, how they laid out their crooked plans right in front of her. "The man giving the orders," she said softly, her voice still thin. "He wore your brand. The Flying M." "That's why he's dangerous," May said. "He knows you." Boots crunched outside, horses snorted. These were men who weren't in a hurry. Gideon checked his rifle. His hands were steady now. He felt a storm calm settle over him. "Looks like Cole brought company." When the door creaked open just enough for a voice to carry through, it was painfully familiar. "Gid, come on out." "No need for this," Cole Drayton, the man Gideon had trusted most. His own foreman. "You did this to her?" Gideon said, his voice flat and hard as stone. Cole shrugged, his shadow visible in the crack of the door. "She listened where she shouldn't." "You want my land," Gideon said flatly, the pieces clicking into place. "And you'll have to bury me on it." Cole smiled, a cruel, confident sound. "You sure?" "I'm sure," Gideon said. "A man who trades people like cattle ain't a man. He's just a problem that needs solving." Before Cole could answer, the air filled with the thunder of boots. Old ranch hands, the town marshal. Men loyal to Gideon, men he'd called on without a word. Cole froze, his confidence shattering. After it was all over, when the quiet returned, May whispered, "You didn't have to." Gideon looked out the open door toward the sinking sun, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. "Yeah," he said, his voice softer now. "I did. That's the whole point. Some things are worth standing for even when your knees shake." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.